We will now look at compensation events. The main list of compensation events is in clause 60.1, and there have been two new additions to this list. Number 20 says that this is a compensation event if the project manager notifies a quotation for a proposed instruction is not accepted. We look at proposed instructions in a moment. Event 21 states that if any of the compensation events stated in the contract data occur, they are compensation events. The fourth edition has allowed extra compensation events to be included in the contract data by the client. The supervisor therefore needs to be sure that they have read the contract data and the Z clauses to see if there are any other extra compensation events. The compensation event process and timetable hasn't changed. The only small change is that when the project manager notifies a compensation event, it also now asks for a quotation, unless the event arises from the fault of the contractor or has no effect on defined cost, completion, or meeting a key date. Previously, in the third edition, this notification and request for a quotation were two separate communications. The fourth edition has also brought in the new idea of the dividing date. We have met this earlier, we'll look at it again now, and has brought in a new procedure for proposed instructions. We met the dividing date when looking at the extension of time for compensation events under the programme. We now see it as part of the process for also assessing the cost of a compensation event. For a compensation event which arises from an instruction or a notification, certificate or change decision by the project manager or supervisor, the dividing date is the date of that communication. Otherwise, the dividing date is the date of the notification of the compensation event, probably by the contractor. The fourth edition in clause 65 has brought in a new procedure for proposed instructions. The third edition allowed proposed instructions but really didn't have much of a procedure to manage them. The fourth edition has clarified this. The project manager is now able to instruct for a quotation for a proposed instruction, something that the project manager or the client is thinking of doing and would like to know the effect of it. And when they instruct for that quotation, they also state when the instruction will be given. In a similar manner to a full quotation, the contractor submits a quotation for this proposed instruction within 3 weeks, and the quotation is assessed in the same way as it would be if it was a compensation event. Having received the quotation, the project manager then has to either accept the quotation, in which case it will issue the instruction and notify a compensation event for the quotation, or instruct a revised quotation, or notify the quotation is not accepted. If the project manager does none of these things, then by the date when the instruction should have been given, the whole process will fall away and the instruction will not be given. As we have just seen, under clause 60.120, if the project manager notifies that they are not going to follow through with the quotation, then it is a compensation event. In other words, the contractor is compensated for the cost and effort of putting together that quotation. The project manager at that time or subsequently is still entitled to instruct work, and then this will follow the normal compensation event process.